Hi, I'm Kristin Davis, and I want to know, are you a Charlotte? Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I am back today with the incredible Lena Waithe. Lena, let's just jump right back in. I think I talked about this in the podcast, so forgive me, everyone listening, if I did. But when we first shot, I want to say the first episode back from the pilot.
Oh, love that. You guys in the cab.
So embarrassing. The cab scene was great. But
So
the
great.
scene with the guy. So I basically, we're setting up Charlotte to be the one who wants to get married. Right?
Yeah.
So I've said that. You haven't seen a lot of it, but it's the beginning, right?
Yeah.
And so I have the scene with him where I'm like, no one's going to marry Mrs. Up the Butt. Do you remember this scene? It's like it's embarrassing. So I had done it once and I had cried. And we had to refilm it, which is the only time in my career I've had to reshoot a scene based on my performance.
No.
And I remember Darren coming to me and saying, you don't be so upset. And I'm like, what? What do you mean? Because I've been in acting class forever where you had to put the stakes high for everything. Do you know what I'm saying?
So they thought it was too dramatic?
Yeah, they thought I was too upset. He was like, there's another guy around the corner. And I was like, what? There is? Because for me as a person, me, Kristin, I don't really operate that way. And I certainly didn't then. I remember Darren being like, you don't care that much. You don't care that much. And I'm like, I thought, my lines are like, I want to get married and now it's not going to work out because he wants to do this thing and I don't want to do it. And he was like, another guy around the corner, just care less. I was like, okay, bizarre.
Care less.
I know, but I didn't really understand that the show was really going to be like a lot of dating.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it took your character a while to get to the wedding.
And rightly so.
Yes.
Rightly so.
Here's the deal. I think ultimately it does depend on what you want or how you want to live. But I think it's something that people are afraid to talk about when they're dating.
True.
Because a lot of women are taught from birth to want to get married and have kids.
This is true.
And so I think that's why Charlotte is such a beautiful representation of a woman wanting to be in, what was it, Architectural Digest, was it? Or which magazine that her
I think it was, right?
Yeah, when they
Oh
posed.
my God, I forgot about that.
Yeah, and what I love about, that it's a beautiful episode, when it's the end of the marriage really, and he comes in to take the photo as sort of this last kindness
like a gift
to you.
Yeah.
But what I loved about it, even as a young person watching that, it was Michael Patrick King or the writer saying, these images you see in these magazines are just that.
Not real, yeah.
They're an image.
Yeah.
And I thought it was so special that we, the audience, know what's happening with you,
true.
That's
really good.
And Trey. But we know that the public will get that magazine and think
it's gorgeous.
I want that.
Totally.
Not knowing
people still
what
look
she's
at that
asking.
hairdo and say like, oh, that headband. I want that headband.
I want
it's so
that.
Funny, yeah.
Yeah, I want what she has.
Powerful those images.
Absolutely.
Right,
because
but I think
that's
that
being
is
fed.
the trap, right? Like that's the trap of getting, and that was Charlotte's trap, which I think was, of course, great on Michael Patrick's. That was his big
Oh my
plan.
gosh, yeah, so
Right.
beautifully done,
To say,
expertly done.
Right, you're gonna want this thing, and you're gonna make
Gonna
it
get
look
it.
perfect, and it's gonna look perfect, but it's not gonna actually be it.
Yeah, which is a lesson. He sort of did all these breadcrumbs that you guys were leaving us is saying that he may look great, it may all seem wonderful,
Right.
But when you really look underneath the rug, what's there?
Right.
And also what's so interesting too is because obviously Mario Cantone's character is saying like, all right, we'll do it solo. We're not gonna. He's not coming. Don't worry about it. She take the photo by herself. It's great.
Right.
And just the idea of what if you did do it by yourself? And so many young girls look at that image and go, huh.
Definitely.
There's no guy in the frame.
That would have been awesome.
That would have been powerful.
It would have been very powerful.
But he's saying, you wanted me here. You wanted to do this.
Right.
You wanted this picture.
Right.
I'm going to give it to you.
Which is nice.
Yeah, but all you have is that. It's just the picture.
So sad.
Exactly.
It's so sad. But it is, let's talk about Michael Patrick for a second.
Yes,
because you know
the
him.
great. Love Michael Patrick
I
King
know.
so much.
So tell me about, you got the DVDs that had his
commentary.
Yes, tell me about that.
Well, I was working at Blockbuster, which tells you how long ago this was.
Love
and
it.
I would rent those seasons, of television. And because that's how you watch things again.
Yeah.
You had to get DVDs.
Yeah.
And so I was really, and so that's how I kind of got to figure out which seasons I really liked,
Yeah.
And so I was like, I like 3, I like 4. Those 2 seasons in particular really spoke to me. And so there were certain episodes, he would like cover an arc, and what was really helpful for me was hearing him talk about Carrie's like descent.
Wow.
He's like, okay, she's got this great guy. Aiden is amazing, wonderful. They're great. And then what rears its ugly head? that past, that guy that she couldn't have, that
Right.
didn't give her what she wanted.
Right.
That is that temptation. And he sort of talks about like she does the wrong thing. And they're always using the smoking and cigarettes too as a metaphor. Like she sort of gives up smoking. Like Aiden's like, that's not healthy. I'm like, and also what is he saying? I want to have a place for us.
Right.
All the things that Mr. Big didn't give her.
Right.
And so I think just him talking about that and running through, I'm thinking, oh wow, that's such an interesting character thing. Or, oh, she has the thing she wants, but she's sabotaging it for some reason. And I can't even think about that as an adult, but I'm thinking about it story-wise, how smart it was. And also him adding, when she's like, she goes to the other side of the other apartment that they're trying to break into. Yeah. Then, but it's at the end. And so Michael Patrick King says, we had to make sure people knew that her and Aiden were broken up, but we have to figure that out because they're laying together. And then he says, so we added the voiceover. The next day, Aiden moved out. But him just giving me that, because I wouldn't have known that. I was thinking, oh, that's so powerful, a punch in the gut. Like, oh, he's gone, he's not gonna be here. And Michael Patrick King said, we added that in the last moment.
Right.
He's also showing me, this is how we can use voiceover. It's not a lazy thing at all. It's a way for you to understand what's happening and the weight of it. To see these two people holding each other, and then you hear, and the next day he moved out. Oof. And you're like, oh man. And those are the moments that I think I really learned about writing for an audience, where you make them care so much about this relationship, this marriage, this couple. And so the end of it feels like a breakup for you. Yeah. You feel like you're going through it. You feel like we're going through your divorce. We feel like we're watching you like struggle to get pregnant.
Right.
All these different things, even like when you follow behind Miranda, you know what I'm saying? Even though she didn't turn back, she knew she was there.
Yeah.
So he's reminding us of, look, they are in relationships with each other.
Yeah.
The only thing is they're not having sex. The other relationships they have, they're learning how to be in those relationships by how they show up for each other.
Absolutely. That's really well put. Really well put. And I love that in this episode. You remember in this episode?
Miranda, she makes the call.
So good.
They don't tell us who she's calling.
And you think she might be calling Big. I literally thought that. And I should know.
I mean, it's beautiful writing. That's the thing. He's hiding it. And it's like, and she's there. And that cut of that image of Miranda, like sort of saying like, I'm sorry. Like that was my stuff.
Right.
I shouldn't have done it. And that's why I really think he's teaching women how to be good friends to each other. All the writers are, the actors, you are showing us, hey, sometimes you got to say I'm in the wrong. And there's iconic fights between Carrie and Miranda. Like those
they have
fights,
an incredible relationship.
Yeah.
I also did not really realize until I'm rewatching. Like the through line of their relationship from the beginning is incredible.
Insane.
And sometimes
I will not be single for you, Miranda.
Totally. I mean, so many moments. So many moments.
When they're at the thrift shop, she's like,
the thrift shop. Incredible.
Come on. Also, I love y'all's argument though, like before you give her the ring. It's so beautiful.
That one's good. Yeah. That one's good. I mean, I don't mean to diminish my own part, but like I always feel jealous when we're doing it just like that. If I see on the call sheet that the two of them have a walk talk, and I'm like, why am I not there? Why am I not there? But now I understand more why I'm not there. Like they have a thing. It's a
deep.
Big and interesting thing, and they're so different, but they're also so similar. Miranda is kind of the only one who really tells Carrie
the truth,
and the only one that she might listen to.
Yes.
It's interesting.
But also, it's a showing of like if Carrie is all of us. We know there's certain friends you go to for certain things. And there are other friends that you don't go to for certain things.
Most definitely.
And so it's like she tells Samantha that she cheated.
Right.
That's who she's able to confess to.
That makes perfect sense.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And, and she's like, don't you want to judge me? And she's like, not my style.
Right.
And gives her the wink.
Right.
And the wink comes back in the movie,
oh my
in
God,
Mexico.
Yes.
And
you are
so
an encyclopedia.
No. But the thing with the money, when she's about to literally get kicked out of her house, and she's looking at the fact that Charlotte is fine, and doing well. But I love that when, Carrie's like, you got this apartment for free. Like, you didn't have to do work for this. And you're like, I earned this, girl. Like, don't play me. I went through a lot to get here.
I know.
And also, but you saying like, you bring up your parent there a little bit, you talk about your dad. My dad never talk about money with friends. And that's a real thing.
Oh, it's a real thing.
It's a real thing.
It's a real thing.
But then for you to give her the ring, it's almost like we are married. We are in a marriage. We are a union.
Each other's soulmates.
Exactly.
I know it.
And she's like, it's like, because she didn't ruin your wedding that day.
No.
You know what I mean? When she was going through what she's going through.
Right.
And then when you no longer are married, you're like, here, take this. So you got somewhere to live. And I think that to me is such a beautiful full circle moment too.
I mean, there's so much to talk to you about. I've barely recapped.
It's okay. I know. We're just going through the whole season, the whole series.
All of them. I know. I love it.
Amy Robach and TJ Holmes here. Diddy's former protege, television personality, platinum-selling artist Danity Kang alum Aubrey O'Day joins us to provide a unique perspective on the trial that has captivated the attention of the nation.
Aubrey O'Day is sitting next to us here. You are, as we sit here, right up the street from where the trial is taking place. Some people saw that you were going to be in New York, and they immediately started jumping to conclusions. So can you clear that up? First of all, are you here to testify in the Diddy trial? Aubrey will offer her opinions and expertise based on her first-hand knowledge from her days on Making the Band as she emerged as the breakout star. The truth of the situation would be opposite of the glitz and glamour.
It wasn't all bad, but I don't know that any of the good was real. I went through things there.
Listen to Amy and TJ Presents Aubrey O'Day, covering the Diddy trial on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Andrea Gunning, host of the podcast Betrayal. Police Lieutenant Joel Kern used his badge to fool everyone, most of all, his wife, Caroline.
He texted, "I've ruined our lives. You're going to want to divorce me."
Caroline's husband was living another life behind the scenes. He betrayed his oath to his family and to his community.
She said you left bruises, pulled her hair, that type of thing.
No.
How far would Joel go to cover up what he'd done?
You're unable to keep track of all your lies, and quite frankly, I question how many other women may bring forward allegations in the future.
This season of Betrayal investigates one officer's decades of deception, lies that left those closest to him questioning everything they thought they knew. Listen to Betrayal on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
What happens when we come face to face with death?
My truck was blown up by a 20-pound anti-tank mine.
My parachute did not deploy.
I was kidnapped by a drug cartel.
I just remember everything getting dark. I'm dying.
When we step beyond the edge of what we know.
To open our consciousness to something more than just what's in that Western box.
And return.
I clinically died.
The heart stopped beating.
Which I was dead for 11.5 minutes.
My name is Dan Bush. My mission is simple: to find, explore, and share these stories.
I'm not a victim, I'm a survivor.
You're strongest when you're the most vulnerable.
To remind us what it means to be alive.
Not just that I was the guy that cut his arm off, but I'm the guy who was smiling when he cut his arm off.
Alive Again, a podcast about the fragility of life, the strength of the human spirit, and what it means to truly live. Listen to Alive Again on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.
Hey, it's Jay Shetty, and I'm thrilled to announce my first ever On Purpose live tour presented by Chase Sapphire Reserve. That's right, I'm coming live to a city near you. Come and see me. Join me and surprise guests for meaningful and insightful conversations to spark learning, experience growth, and build real connections. I'll also guide you through live meditations, share groundbreaking insights, and create powerful moments of inspiration designed to deepen connections, spark growth, and foster learning. Chase Sapphire Reserve is the gateway to the most captivating travel destinations and offers exclusive rewards and experiences so you can explore the world your way. Discover more with Chase Sapphire Reserve.
And it's going to take us to heal us.
It's Mental Health Awareness Month, and on a recent episode of Just Heal with Dr. J, the incomparable Taraji P. Henson stopped by to discuss how she's discovered peace on her journey. So what I'm hearing you saying is healing is a part of us also reconnecting to our childhood in some sort.
You said I look how youthful I look because I never let that little girl inside of me die. I go outside and run outside with the dogs. I still play like a kid. I laugh, I love jokes. I love funny. I love laughing. I laugh at myself. I don't take myself too seriously. That's the stuff that keeps you young and stops you from being so hard.
To hear this and more things on the journey of healing, you can listen to Just Heal with Dr. J from the Black Effect Podcast Network on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
AT&T. Connecting changes everything.
One thing I love, I mean, And I mean, some of it is just like memories. You know, I love the memories. And also, can I say, I don't know if you've ever met the director, Alan Coulter. Did you ever meet Alan Coulter? Oh my God, so incredible.
But I saw that name.
I want to have him on because Carrie runs into him on the street. He is on the street. I don't know why. He's such a character, and he really, you know, when you have those directors who inject like a new element that then changes forever the show.
Yeah.
He was one of those. Like he came in and he's he's intense, and almost every time he would threaten to quit. You know what I mean? It was one of those. Just because like we are always and still are very over ambitious in our desires of what we want to film in the time and money that we have.
Oh yeah.
So it's always a stress.
For
you know what
sure.
I'm saying? And we used to film all night, you know, many times a week. Yeah, it was hard. It was hard. But we loved it, right? But I mean, for the director he had high hopes. You know what I'm trying to say? He set the bar high. And he used to say to us, one of the best things he ever said to me at least was, walk slow, talk fast. Because we have so many walk and talks, right?
Yes.
But you have to make it seem like you're walking fast, but you can't really walk fast because we can't cover that much territory with the camera. Do you know what I mean?
That's true.
So you had to separate your voice, your vocals from your feet. Wow. Which is hard because usually you walk fast and you talk fast together. But you had to separate like padding.
Yeah, that's crazy because you guys are walking so much.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but he had a great, his rhythms really affected me, and I think all of us. Like when I look at that episode, it's really good.
Pacing is great.
His pacing is great.
Yeah, and also it's a new trick too because like you guys are still doing the thing of breaking the fourth wall. But what was interesting about that episode is that it's like people on the street,
and they were good.
They were fantastic.
They were so good.
Yeah.
Like for me, because in the first season, I'm like, oh God, not again.
Because you guys trying to figure it out.
Totally.
You know.
And Sarah Jessica never wanted to do that.
Oh, never wanted to do that.
She did not like it. No.
Well, it went away by 3.
Yes.
And maybe it's interesting because that's where it's kind of like, guys, no, this is not a TV show. This
because
is
it's
life.
So strange for the main character to break.
For the main character. Yeah, but that's what I like in this episode, that it was not
No, it was the people at the baseball game.
Which was nice.
It was great. And they were funny and interesting. I liked it a lot too.
I liked it.
And I loved that whole baseball thing. I remember going there. It was freezing. It was February. We went to where they used to play the U.S. Open in like Flushing.
Wow.
Because it was empty. You know, we needed an empty stadium.
Wow.
And I got lost, which is really common. It was back before we had security. So you could just be wandering around, you know.
So you got lost on set?
Wandering around,
not on set,
like trying to find the way in or whatever, because it was like a big empty stadium, do you know what I mean? And there was no PA with me or
I was
anything.
about to say, like, where's the
Nobody,
PAs? Where's the AD?
This is back in the
There's no walkie-talkie.
early days.
Kristin, who's got Kristin? Who's got eyes?
No, they just lost track of me. I was missing. And I was just walking, and I think I had my cell phone, you know, the big old cell phones, and I think I called Cynthia, like, where are you guys?
Wow.
I know. And then we were up in those stands for like a long time, and it was cold because we would go back in February. The show wouldn't come on until June, so we had to pretend like it was.
This is what I'm dealing with the shot. Like we're like, okay, we're gonna make it real. We're gonna make the weather real. Even though I'm kind of like, I don't want to be outside with everybody. They're like, Lena, just deal with it.
I mean, that's hard.
Yeah, but we're gonna play it for winter though, because we're not trying to be assholes. But it didn't look cold. You guys tricked me.
Thank you.
I mean, gee, she had the fur coat on though. But
yes, she has that vintage fur.
She still has it, of course.
She has everything in her storage.
Oh, she got all of it. That coat is.
I know that
real.
coat is good. I know that coat is good. They had to retire it because people got upset with us about the fur.
I get it.
I get it too, obviously, but
it's still iconic.
Yes. All right, I have to look at the notes because I'm sure there's something really important that we're not covering. Oh, I have that man who wants to adjust himself.
Which is so interesting. As a woman who doesn't date men, it's that thing of going like, I'm glad these are things that one doesn't have to deal with.
Totally. I also think it's funny because like Charlotte is so into manners, right? So of course it would really bug her.
Of course. What I mean?
But also it's funny that it also bugs Samantha. It seems to bug everybody, which I think is interesting.
It's interesting. It's interesting. Well, also Samantha's dealing with her own issue with the guy with the small penis.
Oh my God, I feel so bad for her in this one. And I had forgotten
I feel bad for the
guy
actor.
Stayed. I felt really bad for that actor. And he's so sweet to her.
Y'all do the guy so dirty. I mean, it's so bad.
Let me tell you.
Jeez Louise.
I mean,
but then once y'all get the husbands, you know, you got
better.
you got
but
Steve.
I still feel like they feel sometimes lesser. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Harry, I mean, look, he was Harry, literally. And, you know, his name,
true.
giving Beauty and the Beast.
It's true.
But he was great. And he still
is
great.
Still
around.
I know, he's still around. I know.
love it.
I love it too. I mean, I do remember a lot of those guys in the beginning would just be like, thrown off. Like, I have to be like the girlfriend, 'cause
Yeah.
it is like the
That's
girlfriend,
why
like
guys
the
get so
flip.
mad about the show, because it's like, I mean, you guys even made it into a Jay-Z song. He's like, I have to wait till Sex in the City is over.
I love it.
I mean, hello. Because
I
women are
know.
like, it's a matriarchy versus a patriarchy in the show.
I know, and thank God.
But that's why, like, think about how long it's stuck with us.
Yeah.
But then you think about it, sometimes women get a little frustrated with it just like that, because what it's showing is sort of, this is what it is to age. This is what it is to, have children that are not babies, or have a husband that has now died, or to explore your sexuality after 50. Then it's sort of like, oh, I'm being confronted with, like, what?
I know, we're still doing it. We're
Because
still
a lot of
doing
people
it.
are like, well, I'm just married over here with kids. Like, I don't want to be thinking about, what could also be happening.
Right.
And what I think you guys are saying is that life isn't done.
That
after
is
you got
exactly what
married.
we're saying.
Yeah.
I know. The thing that's funny to me is that, it's very hard to be objective when you're making something,
Sure.
right? And luckily, Michael Patrick's in charge, and I don't have to worry about the big
Yes.
issues. But we did all discuss at length about coming back and why we would want to come back and what we wanted to do. And what we wanted to do was say, life is not over.
No, yeah.
It never ends.
Yes.
Like, fascinating and unexpected things happen all the time as you continue. And why shouldn't those stories be told?
Yeah. Well, again, it's like, you guys really are a fairy tale for people. So it's almost like somebody saying, let's go see how Cinderella's doing. It's like, I don't want to know how Cinderella's doing. I don't want to know what Cinderella's doing. I want to just think she's happy and living her life in the castle.
I know. See, I didn't realize that part.
No, y'all are, it's fairy tale. If you think about, because how long people have lived with the reruns, obviously, and obviously they can still watch it on Netflix. But for me, it's about evolution. And I think sometimes for people, that is scary, to evolve, to grow,
Absolutely.
to not stay the same.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of people, it's like, well, no, I want to live with them here.
Right.
And it's saying, well,
we
then
want you,
that means
they want it to stay there. They want to keep that kind of glorious bubble.
True, but it's like, but I like Somewhere Over the Rainbow, but also like, come on, get happy.
Totally. I mean, look, I'm
It's like-
thrilled to be doing it just like that, because I
Yeah.
do feel like maybe someday more people will embrace it, or maybe they won't, and it's fine.
No, I think to me, I think sometimes if audiences are frustrated by something, it means you're drawing blood, as Baldwin would say. And so, but also I think it becomes a part of the art. So that way, 20 years from now, when we look back, people say, well, what were people saying at the time?
Yeah.
And that is also a time stamp.
Absolutely.
Is the audience's reaction to something.
Right,
Because in 20 years, somebody will watch this and go, oh, how forward thinking, or how amazing.
Right.
And we can say, yes, but at the time, some people got frustrated
Right.
with the non-binary character, or
Right.
with the fact that Miranda's now queer, or the fact that Big is passed away.
Right.
And people are going to go and look back like, why were they upset about that?
Right.
You know what I mean?
I
It's sort
do.
of-
I do.
And I think that's why whatever people are doing or talking about, it's more of an education for us. Because that's what I'm saying. If someone's upset, I'm saying, oh, y'all just don't want to come into this new space. And what it's saying is, oh, y'all want to stay in this little box in this same period. And it means like, oh, so that's not evolution. That's not growing up. That's wanting to stay in the past. And the past cannot, if you live in, anybody that lives in the past, they're always talking about what they've done and where they've been. And it's sort of like, what are you doing now? Yeah. It's like, where are you at now?
Yeah.
And so I think that's why just like that is so special, because now we get to see, oh, this is after the happy ending. This is after the credits have rolled. Where are you now? And that sometimes can be scary for people.
I agree. I mean, it's scary for us sometimes too. You know, it's just to do it. You know, and
Just to
you
still
know what I'm
doing it.
saying? Like, it's still risky.
I mean, look, there was a beautiful television movie called Mary and Rhoda, that they, decided to try to come back. It ended up being a TV special. They were thinking about making it a TV show.
Right.
But I think this is no different than that. It's sort of those actresses, saying, these characters still resonate with people, and we want to see what they look like. And I remember they were dealing with like in the workforce and working for like younger people and all these different things. Not unlike if you go back
really
and look at Mary and
resonates.
Rhoda,
Oh my God.
it's like it's a little bit of it just like that. It's
Wow.
like, and I remember I was really excited about them coming back and doing that. But it was saying like these characters are still relevant, even though they are not in their 30s or 40s anymore.
And the thing is too, like the thing that I have to remember, and that I so well, obviously, is you don't really need the invitation to do it. You just need to do it.
Absolutely.
And that's so hard to remember sometimes.
Yeah.
You know?
And
you just got to push through.
And what's also interesting is like, look, you guys are like Rolling Stones. Like people gonna show up. They're gonna buy tickets. They're gonna come.
You're sweet. I don't know. I don't know about that. I mean, I'm just so
you guys
happy
are like a
to
rock
still
band
be
that people still want to
functioning.
come and hear the concert. The difference is you guys are playing new songs now, and so it's like, okay,
We do, and I think that's the part where, I mean, it's exciting that it's still scary. You know,
Yeah,
that's what
true.
you want,
Yeah,
right? You don't want to
yeah.
be coasting. We're definitely not coasting. Like, I watched that first episode, I was like,
What is happening? I'm so like Susan Fales Hill. Got to give her a shout. Susan Fales Hill,
God, Susan,
who was like show running A Different World back in the day. She show ran my show 20s. And I'm so happy she's over there, and I know she's iconic, and I'm sure she's bringing so much. And
she does.
She's just amazing. She's so sharp, and she's a New York lady.
I mean, she's the perfect
person to be in that room.
I mean, she lived that life as well as knowing how to run a television show.
Oh, she's
it's insane.
Yeah, and she's so happy over there.
I mean, we love her so much. We love her so much.
That's why I'm so excited. She won't tell me anything. I'm like, come on, what's up? What's up? She's like, nah, you got to watch. It's crazy. I'm like, all right.
It is some craziness. It is
I'm
some
excited.
craziness still. It's interesting.
But
like,
also,
I
I love that
forget.
everybody is gonna be there and show up and be talking, and that's the thing. There's so much there's so much place to go now.
That's
Before it was
true.
like water cooler talk at work, and now it's like everybody's like, oh, did you see it?
Right, which is a little scary
It's
sometimes.
Scary. Don't be
Do you look at
detached.
comments?
You know, I here's the deal. When you put work into the world, it no longer belongs to you.
Mm-hmm.
And what people respond to it or how they react to it is education about where we are as a society. None of it is personal. So if someone is like bugged by something, frustrated by something, run toward it. Have that conversation. Why does that bug you? What about that makes you uncomfortable? Why don't you like this character? I think it's more about asking people, like say, hey, why? An opinion is fair. Yeah, because everybody's right. If somebody says, I love this season, I hate this season, both of y'all are right. What I always want to say is like, give me a why.
Right.
Why is it not working for you? Why do you love it? Why is it, because I remember watching that first season, I was just sort of like, oh, whoa, I'm really affected emotionally, by what's happening in their lives right now. And it was challenging me. It was confronting me in a way, but that's what your characters have always done. So this isn't new.
It just looks a little different.
Looks a little different, but it's a continuation of what the show has always been about.
That's definitely how we feel. But it is interesting because the world is changing so rapidly, kind of in a back and forth almost kind of way.
Yeah, and you got to be careful because you don't want to get like, can we say that? Like, I love your character. Like, it's always like, is this politically correct? Can I say this? And you got to have that voice there.
Yeah.
But, at the end of the day, people are going to say what they're going to say anyway. So you just want to just make something interesting.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Amy Robach and TJ Holmes here. Diddy's former protege, television personality, platinum-selling artist, Danity Kane alum, Aubrey O'Day joins us to provide a unique perspective on the trial that has captivated the attention of the nation.
Aubrey O'Day is sitting next to us here. You are, as we sit here, right up the street from where the trial is taking place. Some people saw that you were going to be in New York, and they immediately started jumping to conclusions. So can you clear that up? First of all, are you here to testify in the Diddy trial? Aubrey will offer her opinions and expertise based on her first-hand knowledge. From her days on making the band as she emerged as the breakout star, the truth of the situation would be opposite of the glitz and glamour.
It wasn't all bad, but I don't know that any of the good was real. I went through things there.
Listen to Amy and TJ Presents Aubrey O'Day, covering the Diddy trial on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Andrea Gunning, host of the podcast Betrayal. Police Lieutenant Joel Kern used his badge to fool everyone, most of all, his wife, Caroline.
He texted, I've ruined our lives. You're going to want to divorce me.
Caroline's husband was living another life behind the scenes. He betrayed his oath to his family and to his community.
She said you left bruises, pulled her hair, that type of thing.
No.
How far would Joel go to cover up what he'd done?
You're unable to keep track of all your lies, and quite frankly, I question how many other women may bring forward allegations in the future.
This season of Betrayal investigates one officer's decades of deception. Lies that left those closest to him questioning everything they thought they knew. Listen to Betrayal on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
What happens when we come face to face with death?
My truck was blown up by a 20-pound anti-tank mine.
My parachute did not deploy.
I was kidnapped by a drug cartel.
I just remember everything getting dark. I'm dying.
When we step beyond the edge of what we know
To open our consciousness to something more than just what's in that Western box.
and return.
I clinically died. The heart stopped beating.
Which I was dead for 11.5 minutes.
My name is Dan Bush. My mission is simple: to find, explore, and share these stories.
I'm not a victim, I'm a survivor.
You're strongest when you're the most vulnerable.
To remind us what it means to be alive.
Not just that I was the guy that cut his arm off, but I'm the guy who was smiling when he cut his arm off.
Alive Again, a podcast about the fragility of life, the strength of the human spirit, and what it means to truly live. Listen to Alive Again on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.
Hey, it's Jay Shetty, and I'm thrilled to announce my first ever On Purpose live tour presented by Chase Sapphire Reserve. That's right, I'm coming live to a city near you. Come and see me. Join me and surprise guests for meaningful and insightful conversations to spark learning, experience growth, and build real connections. I'll also guide you through live meditations, share groundbreaking insights, and create powerful moments of inspiration designed to deepen connections, spark growth, and foster learning. Chase Sapphire Reserve is the gateway to the most captivating travel destinations and offers exclusive rewards and experiences so you can explore the world your way. Discover more with Chase Sapphire Reserve.
Giving yourself that agency to not just be one thing, right? I don't have to be the perception that is crafted or the version of me that everyone is kind of projecting onto me. Like, I am having my human experience and it is faceted.
It's so faceted and it's fascinating.
May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and Deeply Well is a sanctuary for your healing. I'm Debbie Brown, healer, well-being expert, teacher, and fellow seeker. And each week, we explore what it means to become whole through soul expanding conversations and practices.
Why focus on tiny joys? Well, because they remind us of what it means to be human. They anchor us in the present moment, and they create ripples of gratitude that nourish our spirit. Tiny joys are acts of self-love.
To hear this and more ways to prioritize your peace, listen to Deeply Well from the Black Effect Podcast Network on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
AT&T. Connecting changes everything.
Lena.
Yes.
Are you a Charlotte?
Charlotte. You know what?
What?
I think of Charlotte as old-fashioned.
Yeah.
Traditional.
Yep.
And very picky.
Yeah.
When it comes to who she's going to date, because she is thinking about the future always.
Yeah.
So I actually have found that I am a little bit like Charlotte, because I'm also a romantic.
She believes in love.
She does.
Yes.
Am I as optimistic as her? I don't think so.
Me neither. Okay.
But I'm not a pessimist, because as Baldwin says, I can't be a pessimist because I'm alive.
Good point.
But I always thought of myself as a little bit more like Miranda, because she's such a realist and she's so grounded and she's so discerning and just like clear.
Yeah.
But I think the reason why I've always loved Charlotte, and I think why so many people do, is because she is almost a fairy tale in a human. She believes in it.
Yeah, she does believe.
And she's willing to do whatever she has to have it. And so I think
she's very tenacious.
Yes, she is.
Yeah.
And she's also just really loving and sweet and wants to do the right thing.
Loyal.
Yes, very
You're
loyal.
very loyal.
I am. I'm a very loyal person.
You
So
are.
I think I relate a lot to Charlotte, especially now.
Yeah.
As I watch the show.
It changes, doesn't it? It, really
It does
changes.
for all of us.
Yeah.
You know, it depends on where you are in your life.
Yeah.
But I think with Charlotte, she's someone you can count on.
Yeah.
And she's someone that you know if you go to her, you're going to get love.
That's true.
So I hope I get to be a
I love
Charlotte.
her. I'm so lucky that I get to play her. But you're very Charlotte. You're very Charlotte.
Yeah.
I don't know if people necessarily know that, but I know that.
Yeah, you do.
You're super supportive.
Yes.
You're a big support system for a lot of people.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. If I'm like stressing, I'm like, I'm gonna leave Lena a voicemail.
Please. Yes, text me. I'm on a social media break.
Remember that time I was like panicked? I was like, come to my house.
Okay.
Do you remember that?
I think so.
Not gonna bring up why.
Don't worry about it. Yeah. And the thing about that show is the casting is obviously divine and amazing.
Lucked out.
I mean, come on, you guys are giving Beatles for television, but each element is important. And I think, whoever, when you walked in and they said, okay, Charlotte.
Not so much.
Okay, it was
they
a
were
tough
like,
one?
yes, Charlotte, but we don't know how important Charlotte's voice is until we got going. And they were like, yes, we actually need that voice.
But you're so good. And you bring and also like getting to know you, that energy that you have, you bring to her. And it's just such a needed note on those songs. So it's so lovely to see you.
I mean, we didn't even talk about your going to class with Michael Patrick.
Well, please, he had, he schooled me. He definitely showed me the ropes before I even met him.
Love it.
And then when I got to meet him, he really kind of let me know how it is and is not afraid to, keep me in line a little bit. But
no.
I love him. He does, it's like he can pull rank whenever he wants. It's true. I respect.
Well, that's important. I think it is important to respect, but I also feel like the thing that I love is when you find out about how people learn to become a creator and a showrunner.
Yeah.
Like, it is not easy.
Yeah, there's a thing called the showrunner trainee program that the WGA does, which I got to be a part of, which he always gives the last sort of class speech, and he gave a memorable one and something I always remember. And he said the thing about the circus, like I don't know, but he's like, yeah, you're the MC, you're the one, and there's all these things going on.
Yeah.
And you have to.
And not very many people can do that.
It's tough. And I don't do it. By the way, I have showrunners who do
but
it
I mean,
for
you're
me.
And
I'm the creator. Yes.
It's big. And then you have to manage all of it.
Yes.
You have to hire those people and make sure they're on track.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It is.
I don't know how you do it.
Look, because I just learned, I saw the same names keep popping up on the, Jenny, I was seeing all you guys' names and stuff like that, the writers, and I always paid attention to it.
You paid a lot of attention.
Yeah.
That's super important.
Yeah, kind of seeing who would come up and whose episodes I liked.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one of your writers, I think it was Cindy, who saw me after a screening of a show. And at that point, she had seen the Thanksgiving episode because the season was out. And she's like, you're going to win an Emmy for that episode. Like long before I was like,
no
what?
way.
And she was like, I know these things. You're going to win an Emmy. True. And I was like, okay. And I'm sure she'll remember. She'll be like, I remember that. I called it.
Yeah.
But she did. She's
coming on soon. We got to get her on. We're trying to keep them in order of when they join. Jenny already came on.
Of course, because she was there. I heard hers.
Exactly. Yeah.
When did Cindy come in?
Now, like next.
Season 2?
Yeah, season 2.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
next couple episodes.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the names. I would see the names. And seeing so many women, that, I just was always like, oh, they are in there going in.
I know, and I don't think people really realize that.
Oh, I try to shout it out as much as I can. Like, there were so many women in that room. Right? Like, please, get out of here. They were telling their stories.
Now we have.
Oh, of course. Hello, Susan Bells Hill. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. And our, Lisa and Julie, who we had when they were like 27, they started with us, and now they're, co-executive producers. Yay. And we love them so much, and they're so great. And it's so amazing.
Having that youthful voice in there too.
Go to develop with people.
Yes. Yeah.
It's really special to get to do that in our business.
Good.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I'm excited. I'm excited about the new season.
Oh, I'm excited and scared. Oh, Lord. I was watching that first one, and for some reason, they're doing like this event party.
I love they show it to y'all. My cast has to wait to see it. Like, we don't show. Yeah.
Oh, we would riot.
Oh, see, y'all can probably pull right. Like, they like, we ain't showing the cast. No, they got to wait. They watch it with the audience.
That hurts.
I know.
Wow.
That's not my choice.
No, I get it. Thank you, baby.
Yeah, thank you.
So wonderful. You're going to have to come back.
I will.
Very often.
Come on.
And school us.
Yes, whatever
on
episode.
The history, man. I knew you would bring that.
You like I'm bringing in the facts.
I did. I love the facts.
Yes.
Thank you. I should have talked about more details, but your stuff was much more interesting.
No, you killed it. That's awesome.
Thank you, baby.
What happens when we come face to face with death?
My truck was blown up by a 20-pound anti-tank mine.
My parachute did not deploy.
I was kidnapped by a drug cartel.
When we step beyond the edge of what we know.
I clinically died. The heart stopped beating.
Which I was dead for 11.5 minutes.
And return.
It's a miracle I was brought back.
Alive Again, a podcast about the strength of the human spirit. Listen to Alive Again on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.
Being able to say, I feel like crying, so I will cry. Today, I'm a little depressed.
May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and Deeply Well is a sanctuary for your healing. I'm Debbie Brown, healer, well-being expert, teacher, and fellow seeker. And each week, we explore what it means to become whole through soul-expanding conversations and practices.
Today, wow, I feel really powerful and ready to serve and use my skills. And it's like, that's the heart of what it is to be an authentic woman.
To hear this and more ways to prioritize your peace, listen to Deeply Well from the Black Effect Podcast Network on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
AT&T. Connecting changes everything.
I want you to ask yourself right now, how am I actually doing? Because it's a question that we rarely ask ourselves. All of May is actually Mental Health Awareness Month, and on the psychology of your 20s, we are taking a vulnerable look at why mental health is so hard to talk about. Prepare for our conversations to go deep.
I spent the majority of my teenage years and my 20s just feeling absolutely terrified.
So this Mental Health Awareness Month, open the free iHeartRadio app, search the psychology of your 20s, and listen now.
I know a lot of cops, and they get asked all the time, have you ever had to shoot your gun? Sometimes the answer is yes. But there's a company dedicated to a future where the answer will always be no. This is Absolute Season 1, Taser Incorporated.
I get right back there and it's bad.
Listen to Absolute Season 1, Taser Incorporated on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Why is a soap opera western like Yellowstone so wildly successful? The American West with Dan Flores is the latest show from the Meat Eater Podcast Network. So join me starting Tuesday, May 6th, where we'll delve into stories of the West and come to understand how it helps inform the ways in which we experience the region today.
Listen to The American West with Dan Flores on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is an iHeart podcast.